99% of creators and coaches overthink and overcomplicate YouTube script writing. You probably know by now the importance of having a strong YouTube channel to strengthen the middle of the funnel and shorten the conversion cycle. But if you try and sit down in front of your laptop to script a YouTube video, an hour later the page is still blank. Or if you try copying other viral videos, you end up watching a random video of a Polish skier skiing down Mount Everest. Or maybe you ask ChatGPT to script your video and then it's atrocious and doesn't sound like you. If that sounds like a bit of you, this video is not only gonna save you time and make your videos perform better, but most importantly, and in my opinion that's the key, it's gonna make YouTube creation more enjoyable for you. And guess what's gonna happen? You're going to be more consistent and more genuine, equals more sales. Now you're probably wondering, why would I listen to this guy with this weird accent and barely 20 subscribers on YouTube? Well, because using this exact same strategy that I'm gonna teach you in this video, I go to $20,000 a month with 4,000 YouTube subscribers. And it also got James, Nick, and Andy above 10 grand a month. So here is what I'm gonna show you. How to come up with strong ideas in no time, one crucial thing to do before scripting, how to craft good intros that actually hook people, how to script the body in a way that allows you to be conversational but stay on track and keep people glued, how to deliver powerful intros, and lastly, 3 cheat codes that cut in half your recording time. You wouldn't want to miss those. The cool thing is that you're gonna see me doing the things I'm explaining as the video unfolds. Oh, and spoiler, I don't use ChatGPT because it just throws me off. Coming up with strong ideas is extremely simple. The first thing you want to do is you want to send out the client onboarding form. Now, if you haven't done it yet, you got to do it as soon as possible. Not only when you onboard new clients, but also to your old clients. You want to send out this form to understand what got them across the line, why they chose you, and what problem they had in the first place. And also, what's the trigger that made them want to hire help before they even chose to work with you? I'm gonna leave the template for that in the description, so grab it and just use it for your clients. For example, what made you make the decision to hire a nutritionist in the first place? You can see wanted guidance on my active journey, wanted to achieve new PBs. So guess what you're gonna use? You're gonna use these angles in your piece of content. And maybe you're even gonna create YouTube videos, full YouTube videos around these topics. The second thing is to list out all your sales objections. Here you can actually use ChatGPT and you can feed the agent with your sales call recordings. Hopefully you are recording your sales calls so that you can extract all the objections and list them out and just create content that handles those objections. Another stupid simple thing to do is to just ask your clients, yo, what are you searching on YouTube? Or what were you searching on YouTube before starting working with me? However, when you edit content, you want to look at the phase of growth you are in. Because if you have lots of followers, but you're struggling converting these followers, there is no point focusing on top of the funnel content. You want to focus on middle of the funnel content. So here is where you're going to focus heavily on handling objections, showing client results, recording client interviews, and all these kind of things. But if you have few followers and you need to bump that up and you cannot just rely on ads, then what you want to do is you want to focus more on top of the funnel content. So content that just attracts as many people as possible. So you want to go a bit broader with your topics and you want to create content for people who are problem aware but not solution aware just yet. Allocate 30 minutes a week to scroll through your YouTube comments and your Instagram comments. You're gonna find lots of insights, not only what people like, but also they're gonna ask questions in your comments. I also suggest you integrate your sales team in the content creation process, in the ideation process, because if you're not taking calls especially, or if you have a setter, guess who spends all day long chatting with your prospects? Well, the sales team. So why don't you just get them to maybe fill out a form at the end of each day or at the end of each week with the most common questions, pain points, and desires that the ICP, your prospects, have in the DMs or on calls. It's gonna be extremely powerful and extremely easy to then ideate based off that data. And if you can, just spend more time with your clients. And only after you've done all these things, then if you feel like you need it, but you probably won't, you can look at your competitors' outliers and see what they're doing and it's working. But generally speaking, you wanna focus on your audience and not somebody else's. And you wanna use your own ideas and your own unique concepts rather than just copying people. Because if you just copy people, you're not gonna build a brand. You're just gonna build a commodity brand within a niche. You're just going to be another random creator copying other people and delivering the same value. You're not going to have any competitive advantage, any edge. So if you want, you can do it, but again, do all the rest before, and then if you feel like you really need it, then you can look at competitors. Okay, so now that you have the idea, the topic, we can move on. But before you start scripting the video, there is one thing that is crucial that if you miss, you're not going to be able to script the video properly. Because the thing is, especially with the intro, you probably noticed it in the intro of this video, what you have to do, the first thing you have to do as soon as you start the script is to reconfirm the title. So guess what? If you don't have the title beforehand, you're not going to be able to script an intro that actually makes sense and give people the impression that the video is exactly what they wanted, what they expected. You need to match the expectation they had before clicking the video. So before you start scripting the video, you need to find the exact title and thumbnail combination that you're going to use. How do you do that? Well, super simple. Set a timer, 5 minutes, otherwise you can get lost and doom scroll. Set a timer, 5 minutes, go on YouTube and research the top creators, not only in your niche, but what I suggest is you research the top creators in more sophisticated, crowded and mature niches. For example, Iman Gadzhi, Alex Hormozi, and the info space in general is probably the most competitive, and even the real estate space, they are really both really competitive. And if you look at thumbnails and titles in those niches and you use them in your niche, you're almost sure, you're almost certain that those videos and thumbnails are gonna achieve a high click-through rate. So scroll through titles and thumbnails and find ones that are actually applicable to the topic that you're gonna talk about. Then grab them and adapt them. All right, now I have the idea, the topic, the title, and the thumbnail. Now we can go ahead and actually script the video. The intro first and then the body. Now when it comes to intro, most people overcomplicate it because it's as simple as just clicking on the video you took the thumbnail and title from, and you just transcribe it and you get the intro and you just change it and adapt it to your topic. As simple as that. However, make sure that it includes these elements. You have to reconfirm the title, and by the way, you can go back and rewatch the intro of this video and you're gonna see that I'm doing all these little things. So you wanna reconfirm the title, you wanna picture a painful scenario or a dream scenario, you wanna increase the stakes, you wanna build authority by showing some case studies or some personal proof, you wanna tease a grand payout at the beginning of the video, and you wanna introduce stakes and solution, just like I did when I listed all the items I'm gonna cover in this video. Make them understand that your stuff is unique and they can't find it anywhere else. So if they click off, it's lost. It's gone forever. When it comes to YouTube, there are really two metrics that determine whether a video is gonna go well or not. One is the click-through rate, and that's given by the title and thumbnail combination, the amount of subscribers you have, the amount of views the video have, and if you're a recognizable person or not. And when it comes to retention, so the average percentage viewed, that depends on, of course, how good your intro is, because you need to spark interest at the beginning, but it's gonna be useless if the value part of your video is all scattered and over the place. So you need to have the right structure and the right strategies even during the body of the video. So let's get into it. I don't know about you, but I personally hate reading off scripts, so I never script word by word YouTube videos. I just create a skeleton. So you have your topic. Now imagine being the person watching this video. What do you want to know about that topic? And what's your situation that you're in? Okay, so again, who's gonna click on that video? Okay, my prospect. What is their situation? Okay, perfect. In that situation, what do they need to know to make the most out of the information I'm gonna give in that video? Once you answer that question, you can actually create a skeleton with the bullet points that you need to go over. But you can't just now go ahead and record the video because it's either gonna be too short or too scattered because you just have a bunch of bullet points. So what you wanna do is create a sub-skeleton with subtopics that you're going to cover for each topic. By the way, little cheat code for you, if you use the dictation tool, you're gonna save even more time. Now, of course, it's cool to have a skeleton and a sub-skeleton. Nice, we know what we have to talk about, but you need to implement some little strategies and techniques that top YouTubers use to increase retention and keep people engaged and hooked and glued to the screen throughout the entire video. Now, first of all, you want to make sure that your video is divided in steps. You know, just like this video. Step number 4, then there's going to be step number 5, and then 6. So divide your video in chapters or steps. It's going to be easier for the viewer to understand where they're at and always have a clear picture of where the video is headed. As you deliver the steps, start with the best piece of advice first. Start with the cake. Because if the first step is kind of meh, they're gonna think the entire video is actually meh. So don't leave the cake for the end, actually put it at the beginning. You probably noticed me doing it a couple of times, but as you go through the steps, don't just rant and deliver value. Loop back to the emotional and logical benefits that you mentioned at the beginning in the intro. So often I mentioned, you do this so you save time, so your video performs, right? Let's do the same thing. You also saw me probably every now and again summarizing the points so that again people know exactly where we are in the roadmap of the video and where we're going. If you can, and this is a little personal branding technique, try and infuse, bake in your video personal stories, mini stories, some fun facts, or even some small wins or some embarrassing moments, just to create that connection, to break the pattern and make the video a bit more interesting and engaging. Add pattern interrupts, like I did earlier on. Went close to the camera and I said, use the detection tool. As you script a video and you add these elements to the subsections of your main sections of your skeleton, make sure that you put yourself in the shoes of the viewer so that you know what questions are they gonna have at that point in the video, so that you can answer those questions and handle those objections during the video. You never want the viewer to think, what does that mean? Because if they do that, if that happens, they get lost and they just click off. Also, rise the stakes before each point to make it more interesting and reset the attention. Be concise, don't chew their ears off. Focus on value density. Be practical, give practical, actionable advice. Bake analogies, example, and case studies into your video to show proof. Just like Andy is doing in this video where he's showing his own HRV data in the video. And little nugget for you, don't wait until the end to do the call to action. Do an early one at 50 to 65% of the video. And spoiler, don't ask to subscribe and don't ask to like the video or to comment. They know what they have to do if they want to do it. And after you have all this, ensure maximum value density and cross-check everything makes sense and flows naturally. Now that I revealed all the strategies, it makes less sense for me to use them because they're less effective, because you're aware of them. However, before I dive into the 3 things that are gonna cut down your recording time and not just your scripting time, let me tell you how to script outros. Because that's probably what confuses people the most. They're all like, go here, go there, subscribe, comment, like. People don't like to be told what to do, so don't, right? The only thing you can do is give them more value. You don't want to sell, you don't want to do anything, you just want to do 2 things. The first one is give them more value. How do you give them more value? By redirecting them to another video of yours related to the topic that you talked about. And this is also gonna benefit you and the algorithm, because when people binge watch videos, they increase the YouTube session time. And that's another metric that the algorithm uses to push your videos or not. So if a person watches one of your videos and then binge watches like 3 or 4 videos, the algorithm is gonna like that person a lot because they're gonna be able to show a lot of ads in that session. The second thing you wanna do is to just remind them about the call to action you did earlier in the video. So it looks less salesy. It's just a reminder. Keep it short. You don't want to decrease the retention at the end because that's going to damage the overall retention, and give them actionable steps. If you want, you can summarize a little bit, but keep it short and give them actionable steps, because the whole point of YouTube videos and content in general is to just get people to implement the knowledge and value that you're providing so that you can actually have an impact in their life for free so that they come back to you and buy from you. That's the whole point of content. We finally made it until the end. Hopefully by now you have extreme clarity on how to find topics, find titles and thumbnails, script the intro, script the body, and script the outro. And you're gonna save time scripting all this. But if you also wanna save time while filming the video, which is also a big bottleneck for most, you wanna do these 3 things. The first thing you wanna do, you wanna warm up. So before you even click record and go over the script and start recording the video, just turn on the camera and start talking. It's like if you're journaling. Just talk. These 5 to 10 minutes you're gonna invest before are not only gonna make your video better, but also again, save you time. Because you're gonna treat the video just like you treated the first recording you did. So, like a conversation with yourself. The second thing is having a visual aid, just like I have now. Maybe it's a motherboard, maybe it's a whiteboard, maybe some slides, maybe pen and paper, whatever that is. Most people find it easier to present and talk if they have support in front of them that helps them stay on track and don't take side roads. And the best tip is actually turn something that you are already doing into a YouTube video. So you don't have to script it, you don't have to plan it, you just have to be aware of what you're doing and aware that you're gonna turn that thing into a piece of content so that you can kind of try and bake all what I covered into that thing. So if, for example, once a month you're coaching your students in person, just invest into a videographer who can record that session so that you're gonna save time. You're going to create great content, different than your competitors, and that content can also build a lot of trust and authority, because it's not just you presenting to a camera, it's actually you coaching people in your life. It's going to give people a perception of what's like to work with you one-on-one. So it's a win-win-win-win-win scenario, because besides all this, you're also, of course, gonna save time. Just keep in the back of your mind as you do this session all these tips I covered, and you're gonna nail it. So we covered a lot of ground here, but I didn't actually touch on how to convert effectively these views, these leads, after you nurture them and warm them up. But I covered that in this video that you can watch after this one, where I go even more in depth on filming and scripting, and then towards the end, I show you how to convert in different ways according to your product and your funnel and your audience, different ways to actually convert these leads. I'll see you there.